All right, welcome to Down The Sideline, everybody. This is a live edition on a stream. Got the whole crew here. What's going on, guys?
How's it going, man?
Not much, man.
What's up?
All right, Chef, I know this is your favorite part. Games from last week. Break it down, man.
We as a collective, we did pretty good. Me as a collective, me did horrible. I didn't have a good week. Last week's picks is Cal versus Utah. Utah won that. Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. West Virginia lost that one in overtime, so Oklahoma State took it. Florida versus Missouri. Florida wins. Northwestern, Michigan. Michigan obviously won. Mike was 3-1. Ope was 3-1. Kevin was 3-1. I was 2 for 2. So not a bad week, but not a good week. I picked too many upsets.
All right, we're going to move on to the poll. Chef, what was the poll for last week? I mean, I know what it was, but what are the results from it?
Our poll from last week was Game of the Week, which was Northwestern, Michigan. Who do you think wins? And it was right down the middle, surprisingly. It was a straight 1-1 vote. We we didn't really advertise it, but I mean, it was pretty even though the game was not. The game was not a good game at all. If you're a Northwestern fan, at least.
Yeah, we're talking about the polls and there's a different game you want to talk about from last week? Get after it.
No. I was gonna say is that Iowa Northwestern, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That's since Northwestern lost last week. That's a really important game for as far as who's gonna get to play for the championship game in the Big Ten.
It definitely has an impact, that's for dang sure.
Because if Northwestern loses, it's going to be almost impossible for Iowa to lose 3 games in conference before the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't think Iowa has much of a challenge after Northwestern, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. But there were a lot of good games last week. I mean, TCU almost getting upset, Michigan State almost getting upset, Utah, which was one of our games, almost getting upset. I mean, it was like all over the place. Alabama somehow pulling out the victory over Arkansas. Texas with the upset, like I called, just a week too late. It was just a lot of crazy games last week.
You said that every week.
No, I said it.
Texas is going to get an upset. They're going to upset somebody. They're going to upset somebody at some point.
I said at like episode 2 or something, I said Texas will get an upset this year, and I picked TCU. I was a week off. I said it, and I'll keep saying it. They were going to upset somebody. It just happened to be Oklahoma.
They got 2 upsets this year. They beat Rice.
But there was like a lot of close games, like the Cal-Utah. 6 turnovers and only win by 6 points. That is insanity, man. But Utah did look pretty good, though. Their defense was pretty stout. I mean, force 5 interceptions. Golly. Against a dude that had, like 3 going into that game? He didn't have very many.
Nah, I was just going to add in West Virginia and OSU. There was a lot of turnovers in that game, too. Dang, West Virginia can't hold on to the ball to save their life. Jeez.
I didn't get to watch the TCU game and TCU-Kansas game because Dish Network is stupid. What I thought was crazy from me watching it on my phone, or me keeping up with it on my phone, was that Kansas was up. Was it Kansas or Kansas State? Either one, it doesn't matter.
K-State
was up 35-17 at the end of the first half, or maybe at halftime.
Halftime.
And so I thought TCU was done, and then they outscore them in the second half. What was it, 38-10 to win that game?
They fought back and won it. That's all there is to it. They didn't give up.
Well, no. There's a lot more to that game than that, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about from games from last week is TCU K-State. Or in that game, the way Kansas State played in the first half was not the way they played in the second half. With throwing the ball, trying to, throw all these deep passes and all that kind of stuff. They weren't playing that way in the first half. This is one of the games that I almost watched the whole game. But the TCU secondary, man, they were so undersized compared to the receivers and tight ends they were throwing to for K-State. I mean, they look like little bitty short dudes compared to like these gargantuan guys. I'm not saying that, the guys from TCU aren't like muscular, but they're not like tall and big guys. They're like short. All right, you guys want to move on to a comment from last week? Are we done talking about why TCU is not as good as they probably should be?
Yeah, sure.
All right, got the right video up this time. All right, so Queasy Dreezy 153 says, "May you please talk about Oregon, or why they're not doing so well this year, especially on defense, while they can't defend the pass to save their life." Yes, sir. I got 2 answers for you, one for each of you. Oregon, they can't figure out a quarterback. They lost Mariota. Mariota's a great quarterback. He's even playing well in the NFL. Huh? Crazy how a guy that runs into spread offense still plays good in the NFL. That's a discussion for another time. Second thing, they've lost some guys on defense. One guy, Ifo Ekre Olamu, I think I'm saying his name right, is a really great cover corner, and he left to go in the NFL draft, and he's actually on some pro team. But he was their number one cover corner, and they just lost some other people. They've lost a lot of people off their offensive line. Jake something or other, can't remember his last name. That's the reason. You lost half your O-line, you lost Mariota, you lost a bunch of people in the secondary who were key players.
We're doing a new segment. We're starting it up. This is our first week to do it. It's upsets. Everybody picks an upset this week. Everybody picks a different upset. That's not one of our picks. And I'm going to lead it off. I picked Arizona State at Utah. I'm, of course, taking Arizona State. I'll get to that reason here in a minute. Going to break down a little bit of information about both teams for you, like get you learned today. Arizona State, they can't seem to be consistent this year. They keep giving up too many points, and they can't, they're so confused. Like they win a big game against UCLA, but then lose and get their butt kicked against UST. It's like, what the heck, man? What's the problem? But they can pull out the upset. They've already beat UCLA this year, so there is an opportunity, but they are playing against a stout defense in Utah. But speaking of Utah, they forced 17 turnovers this season, 6 last week against a team that throws the ball a lot. That's something that Arizona State's got to look out for. But the offense does have trouble capitalizing on the turnovers. They only won by 6 when the defense forced 6 turnovers last week. That's not a good touchdown to turnover ratio there. But they do play better when they dominate time possession. Every game that they've absolutely dominated it, they have won. When it's a little bit closer time possession, it's a little bit closer game. And surprisingly enough, they have had some success at home, which they are playing this week, but they are way more dominant away, which typically it's the other way around. But hey, the stats don't lie this year. So I'm picking Arizona State. They've won the last 2 games against Utah, both of those games total have been a combined 4-point victory, but a win's a win. Utah hasn't won this matchup since they joined the Pac-12 and has lost the last 11 meetings. Utah's not gonna survive this week. Arizona State shows up and wins the thriller in my upset game of the week.
Let me try then. So my pick for the upset of the week was Penn State versus Ohio State game. The Nittany Lions are coming in. They're the 10th ranked total defense in the nation. Very, very good. They have over 25 sacks this year. They're not that good against ranked opponents. They're only 3-12 overall. But Ohio's looked very sloppy these last few games. I think Penn State's got a good chance of pulling out an upset this week. So this is what I'm going with for my upset of the week.
Well, mine's along the same route. I'll go ahead and segue into that. I picked number 19 Oklahoma versus Kansas State. Kansas State is 3-2. Oklahoma is 4-1. Along with the same stuff, I think they're pretty stout on defense. And I say this a lot, but it only really goes for a few places. There's a few places that are hard to play, and you wouldn't think that they are. Like Utah being one of them, in Utah, in Kansas State, a few of those places like that. I mean, we all know that, it's hard to beat people in Michigan or in Ohio or at Florida, at LSU. We know all that kind of stuff. But there's some of those little weird places. But, at the old Bill Snyder Family Football Stadium, it's hard to win there, as TCU found out. I think that if they can hold TCU the way they did and play like that, I think they can do the same thing to Oklahoma. And so that's my reasoning in a nutshell to why this is my upset of the week.
I got USC and Notre Dame. I don't know that USC is going to win, but from what I was reading, they said that a couple years ago they had a coaching change in the middle of the season, and that they went on to win. They lit a fire into the team. They went on to win. Notre Dame's coming off a tough loss couple weeks ago. So I think that, and especially with how bad it sounds like it was with, I'm not even sure how you say his name. Sarkisian. I think that's what I'm going to go with, USC over Notre Dame.
All right. Anybody else on upsets? I want to go ahead and go to the Stanford UCLA game, because they're about to play here in a few minutes, aren't they? And I want to go ahead and get our picks and all that stuff out of the way before the game starts. Whoever wants to take it away, take it away.
I'm going to take UCLA. I'm not exactly sure why. I like their quarterback, man. Stanford has won the last 7 straight versus UCLA, dating back to 2009. But I think Rosalina, or whatever his name is, can pull out the win this week playing in Stanford. It's going to be a great game. It's like one of those surprising middle-of-the-week games, not Saturday games. It's going to be really good. I'm taking UCLA.
I'm taking Stanford on that one just because I feel like it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make my pick. I like Jim Mora, which is the UCLA coach, by the way, in case you guys out there didn't know that. But I'm going to take the Cardinals. They are undefeated at home this year, and they're undefeated everywhere else except for Northwestern. So I'm going to take Stanford. Look for them to continue their run.
I think I'm gonna pick Stanford as well. I wanted to look at rushing yards and stuff like that on there, but I can't look it up because Steve Jobs playing in my freaking ears. But I'm gonna do it. Stanford at home. All right, what's the next game? We'll get on with it.
Well, you want to look at Michigan State?
I'll go ahead. Michigan State almost got beat by Oregon, which wasn't a very good team. They missed 2 open receivers to be able to either go ahead or kick a tying field goal. Michigan, on the other hand, has been playing balls out under Jim Harbaugh. And I think Michigan at home, the fans are going to be fired up. They're happy that Michigan football's back. And I don't care what any of the stats, any of that stuff. I'm going on the picks just for that reason. That everybody's going to be excited. It's going to be loud. Ann Arbor's going to be freaking rocking, dude.
I can segue along with you there, Italian, because I agree with you 100%. On top of that, Michigan State really has not played anyone. They played WMU, which I'm not sure who that is, Oregon, Air Force, Central Michigan, Purdue, and Rutgers. And all those games, except for 2 or 3, were one-score games. So, yeah, I'm taking Michigan because Michigan's had a lot tougher schedule and could be wrong, but I think Michigan gets the W here.
I'm going to agree with you guys, and also I'm going to add that Michigan State has had some injuries pretty much every week, and then this week they've also had an injury. Their center was hurt last week, so they're not going to have their starting center. That's going to be a big deal, especially with the Michigan defense, and also their Michigan State's running back is also hurt as well, so they're not going to have as strong of a run game as normal. Yeah, I'm picking Michigan for that as well. They've been looking sloppy, like everyone said, and yeah, Michigan's just been dominant.
Chef, it's all on you to buck the trend. I know you want to. You love that.
I do, but like I said, I did my research. Michigan State they have the most to prove in this game. They've only had one quality, quote-unquote quality team that they've played, and that was Oregon. The defense has given up a crap ton of yards, and they're just not all that great. But offensively, they've only turned the ball over 3 times, which is insane. I think that's a little crazy to me that Michigan State's only turned the ball over 3 times. But Michigan, the defense has only given up 200 yards, or given up more than 200 yards twice all season long. Now that's a stat you want to look at. That's a defense that's playing lights out, playing balls to the wall. But their only team the best team that they've played, if you consider Utah a good team at the start of the season, is Northwestern. So they really haven't played anybody either. And then as long as they run the ball, they'll do all right. They've only had one game where they didn't get 100 yards rushing, which was the loss to Utah. So I'm taking Michigan in this game. Michigan State has the most to prove, but won't be able to slow down the running game. And Michigan's defense is going to give Connor Cook fits all game long. I think he turns the ball over. They double their turnovers at least this game. All right, so next game, Florida at LSU.
I'll go first. So maybe I would have picked Florida over LSU if Greer was there. He's out. Traylon Harris is going to start. Florida's got a good defense, but LSU at home plus Leonard Fournette minus Greer equals LSU win. So there's my math problem for today.
Your word problem? I'm going to agree with Mike on this one. Without Greer, they're going to be a little bit weaker team. Yeah, I mean, LSU is pretty much a one-style team, but I mean, they're the best one-style team in the nation. You can plan around Fournette all you want, but I mean, that guy, he's a freaking workhorse. So, yeah, I'm picking LSU as well.
Florida, their only quality win this year is over Ole Miss. They've had too many close games against mediocre teams. Their starting QB's done for the season. Harris hasn't played any significant time other than week 1. He played a little bit in week 2, but he hasn't really played anything other than that. They've got no turnovers on offense the last 2 games, which is good, but with a new quarterback, timing issues and stuff like that, I just don't see that happening. Plus their penalties. They've got 37 penalties so far this season. They're averaging like 6 a game. That's not looking good. This is LSU's first real test, and it's against a Florida defense that has been legit. They need to have another South Carolina kind of game from Harris at quarterback because Florida's going to be focusing on Fournette all game long. So they need to do what they need to do, but LSU's only got 1 turnover all season. So I'm picking LSU. Fournette runs big and it starts the downfall of Florida. Florida's just going to start snowballing from here on out. Defense of LSU needs to be aggressive to get the win, go after the quarterback, and they got the best chance. LSU wins it.
So my question for you guys, because I'm also picking LSU, and I'm picking LSU for 2 reasons. For one, I don't think Ole Miss is as good as the polls said they were after the Alabama win because of how bad Alabama played. And 2 is Greer's gone, so I'm going to take it with you guys on that. So I'm not going to add anything to that. But my question for you guys is, after this week, where will Florida be ranked at, or will they be ranked?
Yeah, they'll probably drop to like 15 to 20, like in that 5 to 7 whatever range. They'll be down that far if they lose. They're not going to drop all the way out.
I think they drop to the 20s. I think they're going to get beat. Someone on here, I think it was Duke. Is that who we call Brandon, or is that Brandon? Okay? Brandon said 31-7. I think it's going to be more like 45-14. I don't think there's any way that this game stays close. I think Florida's going to be facing 3 and outs all day, and Fournette may be stopped early, but as we've seen in every game, because Brohawk said 1,027 rushing yards in 5 games. So I think they get 45 in this one.
What's the next game?
Iowa at Northwestern. Weston. What the heck did I just say?
Northwestern?
Northwestern.
I'm actually going to go with Northwestern on this. I mean, the Hawkeyes really haven't played anybody of note that I can see, that I can tell. I don't see that. And then, like, Northwestern just came off that loss against Michigan, and they're going to take that to heart, I think, and then come out balls to the wall this time around. Yeah, I'm going to pick Northwestern to win on this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Iowa. I think Northwestern kind of played. They're not as bad as they played last week, but I don't think they're as good as they played up until that point. I think that Stanford game is definitely a mirage. I think if they played that game again, they wouldn't win. So I'm taking Iowa in this one.
I think Iowa's best win, like they said earlier, is Wisconsin. They've been really balanced, which is kind of a surprise. They've like almost the exact same rushing yards, passing yards almost every game. They've been really good, and they've been able to shut down the run consistently, which has been nice. Northwestern's only loss was to Michigan last week, but they are not consistent at putting up points. Like, they can't get points on the board. They've won their games because they scored more points than their team, but when you're not putting up points consistently, that's a big issue. And they've been giving up too many big plays on defense. Plus, the quarterback, Thorson, he's a freshman. He's not quite a solid threat yet. He's not quite acclimated to the college game. Giving him a couple of years, like maybe his junior year, it'll be a lot better game. But I'm taking Iowa. They've been pretty good. And if they shut down the run from Northwestern, they got it locked up. So I'm taking Iowa as well.
I'm surprised you've been on Northwestern all year.
I know. That's why I said I was going to get to my Northwestern in a minute. They haven't been consistent, man. Whenever you can't put up points on offense, doesn't matter how good your defense is. So if you can't score on offense, you're not going to win. Just look at my players only subscriber franchise videos. Defense doing work, but offense is playing like crap, and we haven't won very many games.
Yes, Northwestern. Number one, they're playing at home. Iowa, the best team that they've played, as far as my opinion goes, is number 19 Wisconsin, which they won 10-6. So they won 9 points versus Illinois. They won by 6 points against Wisconsin. They blew out UNT because they're a powerhouse. Won by 3 points versus Pittsburgh, and then they blew out Iowa State, another powerhouse. And on the other hand, Northwestern's only losses against Michigan, but they played pretty good Minnesota team they're good for Minnesota. Ball State, and some MAC team. Duke. They beat it. The Duke team's good. They're a good team for being Duke football. You know what I mean? They're not a good team compared to like other, historically good college football teams. No, I'm gonna take Northwestern. They're playing at home. They're gonna end up beating Iowa. They're gonna come out pissed off that they didn't score any points on an embarrassing loss to Michigan after all the hype was with Northwestern. Now they're gonna come out and freaking stomp Iowa.
All right, on to the last one. Alabama at Texas A&M.
Game of the week, folks. Here we go.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
It's your show.
I'm taking Texas A&M. Why? There's only one reason. Alabama sucks at defending mobile quarterbacks, and they're playing at home. game over. Another place that it's hard to play at, down there with the College Station, right? What is that? Southeast of here, about 100 miles?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, Kyle Field, man. Home of the 12th man. I don't think so.
I'm agreeing with Mike. I'm going with A&M, actually. Alabama's defense, they're not nice. They score. I mean, they do it all. But like Mike said, versus the spread, I mean, you can see that with Ole Miss. They didn't do as well. I'm pretty sure Texas A&M is going to look at that game and devise a game plan similar to that. If Allen can keep his head, I mean, he's the 12th ranked versus QB rating. If he can keep a level head and play smart, not throw the ball away, I think he'll pick them apart. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Aggies over Alabama this week.
Alabama, since losing to Ole Miss, they've allowed 43 points. It's when they allowed 43 points, they've only allowed 24 total in the last 3 games. So their defense is back on lock.
Wait a minute. What was that?
Alabama, since allowing 43 points to Ole Miss, has only allowed 24 in the past 3 games.
Oh, okay.
But Alabama is struggling on third downs. They are 10 for 41 in those 3 games. So they're not converting on third down, which is going to be an issue. They have 11 interceptions, 3 fumbles on the season. Quarterback play is not stellar. Texas A&M, like I said, for Northwestern, is coming off a bye week. So they're looking pretty good. They've only been under 500 yards as a team twice all season. Once was Arizona State and once was Arkansas. Arkansas game was real close. Only one game when not at or above 40 rushing attempts, and that was the Arkansas game. They only had 20, and they almost lost, had to go to overtime. So I'm taking Texas A&M. If they establish a run and put up some yards, they'll put it to Alabama. And if they take advantage of the turnover-prone quarterback, they got it. But this will be Alabama's last loss of the regular season.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm actually taking Alabama in this game.
Wow.
Oh, I thought you hated Alabama.
Is it possible?
What's the reasoning behind that? I mean, Chef said it all the way. What are they, 0 for like 40 on third downs or whatever?
First of all, before I defend any of these picks, you guys know I'm not an Alabama fan. I just think I picked against Georgia because I wanted Georgia to win. I didn't really know if they would. I just didn't want Alabama to win. But I mean, we go to that Ole Miss game, like I said. It took Ole Miss won by 6 points, and that game was in the balance until the last seconds of the game. And the turnover was 5-0 in favor of Ole Miss. If they turn the ball over 4 times instead of 5, then Ole Miss may not even be in that game. It may not even be close. So I don't think A&M is going to be able to score enough points to stay with Alabama unless Alabama turns the ball over that many times. And every time that they've played a good team this year, except for Ole Miss, they have not. They've showed up and locked down. I mean, Chubbs had 100-something rushing yards because he got 76, 84 on 1 carry. Other than that, he had 20-something carries for like 35 yards or whatever it was. I don't like Nick Saban. I don't like Alabama. But whatever you're good at, they find a way. They're like Bill Belichick. They find a way to take away your best offensive threat and make you win another way. And I think that they win this game probably. I don't think it's as close as you guys. Well, you guys picking A&M to win. I think this is more like the Georgia game, and Alabama wins. And it kills me to pick them. It kills me to pick them.
Or more like Boston College. Maybe they're going to win 2-0 on a safety.
I'm picking them to win, but if I watch this game, I'm going to be rooting against them the whole time. Yeah, because, every time I pick against Alabama, they end up burning me. I mean, I picked them to lose twice this year, and they've won both of them, I think. And so I got to pick them this time because they keep screwing me the other way. So, and maybe I'll jinx them and they'll end up losing. So.
All right, so the poll this week, we're going to have the poll on the Alabama at Texas A&M University. We'll have the link in the description. Let's go down there, vote for who you want. Vote for who you want to win or who you think's going to win. Either one works. And we'll talk about it next time. Of course, we didn't advertise it, but there was still some people that went in there and voted, so that's pretty cool. All right, that's going to do it for Down the Sideline. I enjoyed it. We'll be back next time. Make sure you subscribe to Twitter, and so you can figure out when the next stream is going to be. I tried to do the outro.
You did a piss poor job, host.
Right?
Okay. You can do the outro this time.
Bye, everybody.
All right, we're going to see you guys next time on Down the Sideline.
Later, guys.
Out.
Toodles.